Hello friends, welcome to this video. As you probably have noticed, it's been a while, and boy has it been a crazy month, but I'm back. I have drawn again for the first time in, again, like a month, and it feels pretty good. So this is going to be Tribe Gen Part A Million, the TideWing battle. Not actually a million, but yeah, honestly, right now, currently, I don't even know what number we're on, but I'm sure the title says it. I don't have a ton of footage for this video, so I won't explain what the entire Tribe Gen story is, but I will refresh. Last video, we talked about the big, climactic battle between the Scorchwings and the Gyre-wings, and then the TideWings swoop in at the last second to save the Scorchwings, and eventually the Scorchwings win. This video is going to be about what happened slightly before that, the TideWings rebelling against the upper class. And just because it's currently happening, I did want to take a moment to talk about this art piece. I really tried to go ham on the background because I envision these tall red cliffs because I'm from a town called Las Vegas. I don't know. I hope that doesn't I don't live there now, but I'm from Las Vegas, and near Las Vegas is a national park called Red Rock Canyon, and the photos that I used to help me with the background are from there, and I always envisioned the TideWing cliffs as being red because those were the cliffs that I grew up with, and also it contrasts so well against the blue scales of the TideWings, so we've got these blood red, not actually, but if you're writing the story, blood red cliffs and, just dragons fighting on multiple levels of the cliffs. And it's just a cool image, and I really tried to capture it. I'm not used to drawing backgrounds, so I really tried to do a lot. I think what really helped me, as someone who doesn't really draw backgrounds, is doing that little photo bashing thing where I had rock textures in the background. And I sort of loosely followed them, used some of the colors, and basically made my own structure from the pictures. I think that's photo bashing, a little. But yeah, and I think I actually did most of the background while I was on a plane. And so that can kind of tell you how busy my month has been. I think forever ago, I got some creative advice that a plane is a horrible place to write or do anything creative. But I don't know, I get stuff done on planes, and I think this turned out pretty good. Anyway, back to the story. So this art piece is about the middle of the pitched battle when it kind of just explodes over the cliffs. But how we go from, there's this rigid class system and, Typhoon ran away to become a pirate, to there's this battle happening is something that we haven't talked about. And we get to talk about it now. And again, if you have any additional ideas or tidbits or even alternate ideas to what I present, please put them in the comments down below because we want this story to be as good as it possibly can be. So in the grand scheme of things, we have the lower class dragons versus the upper class dragons. And I think one of the things that I wanted to bring into play is just increasing pressure on the lower class until they break. And in that, I was kind of thinking that the upper class is probably doing something to create starvation conditions for the lower class, like not paying them enough, not letting them rest enough, and maybe even overfishing, because we've got to have the environmental angle in there. And so when it comes to the battle and trying to rise up, the lower class know they're outgunned, basically. They're weaker, they're struggling, and that's also why they kind of hire, they don't pay them, but they call out for help from the pirates. And forever ago, someone had this idea that it would be really cool if the messenger sent to get Typhoon and the pirates on the lower class side is one of the dragons that made her go into exile, essentially. And the story with that would be their parents fell on hard times. Like maybe they were merchants, so they were barely upper class, but it's still enough to make them upper class, right? And they just, you know, sales stopped happening, or like one of their parents was just like gambling it all away, and so it's like it's just this betrayal essentially of the family by like one of their parents. I mean, because we're in a seafaring town, there's going to be taverns and gambling, duh. So it's kind of like the ultimate humbling of that character, that like, and they probably had no idea that they ruined Typhoon's life, but now they kind of come face to face with it as one of the lower class members and being the one chosen to go to the pirate lair and send for help. I feel like that moment would be super cool to draw too. Like I imagine the former upper class dragon to still have those trappings of wealth, like silks and jewelry, but they're like faded and tarnished, and the gemstones have been taken out of their jewelry to be sold for food. That's like storytelling in an image. That would be so cool. And they're kind of like shrunken down in the face of Typhoon, who's made something of herself over this time, and it's pretty cool in my mind, at least. So now that the lower class Tidewings have recruited the pirates, they have to come up with a plan. And this is where the weakness of the lower class ties in. Not weak in a bad way, weak in like a, you know, downtrodden way. So I was kind of thinking that the mission sort of starts out as a stealthy one. And this kind of goes along with the fact that the Tidewing pirates have Nyx, the Gyrewing, who can control metal and electricity and can negate the queen's sleep powers. So yeah, I think it's really cool to like try to have a stealth mission, but then obviously in the image we see the battle spilling across all of the cliffs, and so I think that the stealth kind of fails a little bit and chaos erupts, you know. But initially their plan, because not all the lower class dragons can go missing and no one notices, that doesn't really happen. So I think some of the lower class dragons are going to create a distraction, like either a fire in the marketplace, like maybe one of the more upper class marketplaces, or I don't know, some type of like event that doesn't really involve them. So not like an angry mob, but just something that seems unrelated. I almost said unrelated. It's only 10 p.m. What am I doing? Yeah, so this kind of gets the attention of the TideWing guards and, you know, takes the queen and all of the upper class dragons' focus elsewhere, while the main like fighting dragons of the lower class and the pirates sneak up the back way of the cliffs and try to infiltrate the palace. Ultimately, this doesn't go as planned. So while everyone thinks that the queen is going to be ushered to safety, so they expect her to be in her safe room, she isn't. She's like out on the balcony watching the carnage because she's kind of sadistic. Yeah, she's not a great lady. And so literally she and her guards catch them, and it just becomes this pitched battle that just falls over the cliffs like a waterfall. And yeah, in the end, I think numbers of the weaker lower class win out. I ran out of footage, and so maybe I'll make like a part 2 to this one. I'm so sorry. I mean, I could totally draw the battle between the queen and Typhoon. It would just be a little hard because they look very similar. But yeah, even though Nyx takes away her sleep powers, Wrath is still powerful. She's big, she's cruel, and she has guards, and so, you know, she's still a tough fighter. But I guess keeping it a little bit shorter also means that you guys can give me your ideas and I can incorporate them and kind of into the ending of this battle. So if you have any ideas, anything, like even details like, oh, side character that was the reason why Typhoon was exiled dies or is heroic or saves Nyx's life, like, let me know in the comments. But yeah, here's another look at the finished product. I think the background especially turned out well, but the dragons were like, okay. I do this thing where I get tired towards the end of an art session, but I don't want to stop. I just want to finish. And it leads to me being lazy. And so I need to give myself more time to do art pieces. But also, I really want to get my stories out there. So it's just the worst. This is creativity problems, okay? Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I hope you liked this, and definitely give me feedback in the comments. We still definitely have another cool battle to talk about, which none of you know about, and it's gonna be cool. So look forward to that. I know I am. All right, thanks again, and I'll see you around.